All right, everybody, welcome to season 2, episode 14 of the Neutral Zone. The ratings are going through the roof. You can only imagine, coming off of our last episode with the referees, what kind of views we had on YouTube. All I want to do is just continue to encourage you all to subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as I think we have an opportunity here to hit up a little bit more on the comments. So if you want to put some comments in, feel free. Let us know what you'd like to see differently on the Neutral Zone, what guests you'd like to see on the Neutral Zone, and maybe some topics that we haven't covered. Today we have a first-time guest, right? Frank Klein, is your first time on the show?
First time, yeah. What's this all about?
All right. Well, we welcome.
Is this a baking show?
Yeah, it's a baking show. It's reality TV. I'm pleased to welcome Frank Klein back. Stomps and I together are excited. We're in the season 2. We've been a little limited on the episodes due to some production crew and the COVID illness hitting our team, but they should be back up and running soon. Today we're going to cover a lot of ground, but before we do, Stomps, anything you want to say to the millions and millions of viewers at home?
Welcome. Special shout out to Brian Chester, who has gone out of his way to say how much he enjoys watching the show. But we know we have other folks that watch it fairly regularly, so we thank them, certainly.
Thank you for your support. We thank you for your comments. And again, we're here to please the crowd. So if there's other things you want to see in the show, please let us know, and we will certainly do our best to deliver. All right, well, today let's start off with some housekeeping items. Like I said, this show, you'll see in the YouTube channel, we're calling this one the Dropping the Gloves episode. Where we're going to talk straight here today. We're going to, get into some of the nuts and bolts of what's happening in Frank's mind, pick his brain a little bit about the upcoming tournament, and learn a little bit more what to expect. So we're excited to do that today. Big news, right? Since our last episode, we heard the unfortunate news that the NHL players will not be participating in the 2022 Beijing Olympics. How do you guys feel about that?
Well, I think they were going to have some problems finishing the NHL season with all the missed games. I think that was one of the big reasons.
I'm I felt like that was a real big deal there for a number of years, the Olympics and with the NHL players in there. But the last one or two, I don't know, for whatever reason, personally for me, I just wasn't as excited about it. I think maybe because it's been done a number of times. So I'd rather see the NHL players participating, but I'm not as upset as I would have been, say, 8 years ago or so.
I'm a little surprised with you two American-born gentlemen who, the American team was looking really strong for this Olympics. They could have pulled out the medal. So I'm surprised. It's pretty disappointing. I would have thought you guys were disappointed. I guess you don't care about medals in the U.S. Is that what you're saying, or you have too many?
We like to spread it out a little bit.
All right, Stomps, any comments there? Or are you just gonna?
I'm more disappointed in the host country. So,
okay.
And plus there's that huge time difference, which always makes it, I don't know.
Yeah.
We should host it here in the States, and so it could be in my time zone at my convenience.
Right.
Go ahead.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, on every one of our segments, we try to identify the injury report, look to some of the folks to wish our players and our community well. I think we do have a few injuries. I wasn't able to gather them all. But before, let's go through some of the injuries or some of the upcoming medical issues in the league. So right now, I did want to have a special shout out to Sam Espinoza. He's waiting for his his kidney transplant. He's been doing well over the past few months. As you guys have seen, he's been back to games, but this is a big deal. So we wish Sam well as he's waiting for his transplant donor. But he's been out looking good, looking sharp. He was a big part of the comeback win by the yellow team on Monday. So best wishes to you, Sam. Frank Stomps, am I missing anybody else who's sort of battling a nagging injury right now?
Well, the big one for me would be Chris Landowski. Tore up his knee when we were out in Philadelphia back in December. So he's got to get that repaired. He's going to be out a good 7 to 8 months.
Is that an ACL?
Yeah, tore his ACL, and I've been playing with him forever. That was the first time I'd ever seen him go down and not get back up. I couldn't believe it when he went down and he didn't get back up. That was a blow, man. But yeah, he's going to be down for a while.
I heard there was like nobody around him when he went down too. It was just a kind of one of those things, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was battling in the corner with another guy, but it wasn't a contact injury. I think he just rotated and gave out on him.
He's been, on and off with coming out to a lot of the games at Palatine. I hope this setback doesn't sort of put him over the edge where he doesn't want to come back. How do you feel, Frank? Do you think he'll come back?
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah,
that's my guy. So
yeah,
we'll get him back out there.
We wish you the best, Chelly. Do you have any update on, is he going to have surgery anytime soon?
I think within the next week. Yeah, I forgot the date. It's coming.
Well, that's good. That's at least he's getting that taken care of. Any other folks battling injuries in the league? I know people are playing injured, but what about the ones who are? I know Ronnie Coletta's still injured. He's been coaching.
Well, I heard someone on this show has an Achilles issue.
Oh yeah, that's just Achilles tendonitis, but that's manageable. Nothing a little PT won't help out with. Okay, well, Stomps, usually got your ear to the ground on these things.
I mean, we talked about Fiorito last episode, did we not? Him coming off of pretty serious case of COVID, and then Schmiel's constantly battling his knee problems. But he said he felt good yesterday for his 5 minutes of playing. So
very good. Well, this next one is a guy that's really near and dear to all of us. He's going through a little bit of a tough time. He recently lost his brother, I think, over the past few days. So, Brian Ganutek, we send our condolences to you for the loss of, I believe, your brother, Jonathan Ganutek. So we, God bless him, rest his soul. I know, Stomps, you've been in touch with him. He's been out at a couple of games as well, right?
I really only talked briefly to Brian on Monday when, literally right in front of him, found out, he broke the news, and we offered, some heartfelt hugs and whatnot. I think, it was good for him to get out on the floor, but yeah, you're right. It's a tough time.
Yeah. And he scored a big goal. I think he was really, like you said, I think it was good for him to come out. In speaking to him, I think he should be at the tournament. And we also don't want to forget, Brian, we're pulling for your dad. I know he's going through a medical issue right now, so we wish your dad well also. Hopefully, the worst is behind you all. But we typically talk about Ganutek in another light on these episodes, but we just wanted to wish him well. All right. So, do you guys remember watching Welcome Back, Cotter?
Absolutely.
It's a great show. I would have put the soundtrack of the show on, but we can't do that because every time I put a soundtrack on, we get canceled by YouTube because I don't have the license to do so. So instead of welcoming back Cotter, we're welcoming back.
Can you sing the song? You get canceled for that?
Probably.
Welcome back.
It's a great song, but Gleason is back, right? Stumps?
Yeah. Looks good out there.
Yeah,
Happy to see it.
yeah. He had a scare as well. But we're definitely happy to see Joe Gleason. He's definitely a road warrior. All right. So this is kind of like the big moment of the show. So we have Frank Klein. I know, Frank, you prepared some speaking notes to talk about the upcoming tournament. Do I have the dates right, by the way?
Looks right to me.
All right.
Yeah, I
hope
think
it's
so.
right to you.
I tell you, I can never remember those dates, and every time I send out a note or respond to someone, I have to pull up my calendar and double check. You think I would
It's
have-
accurate.
But I'm pretty sure that's right.
Right.
I've only looked at it 8,000 times.
The only reason I ask is because our resident fact checker wasn't able to see the slides in advance, and he'll probably give me grief later and find some typos and some areas that weren't fact checked. So, Stumps, what hat are you wearing over there?
NDHL.
Okay, so a plug for Frank, and Frank's
I
plug.
got my Legends tournament champion hat.
Very cool.
I'm
Nice.
everything.
Frank, tell us what we need to know about the 14th to the 16th, my man.
Oh my God. Well, this is, believe it or not, this is the 6th time we're running this event. 7th, if you count the one in October, but that was, it was a little different. It wasn't the exact same one. So yeah, this weekend, this is the 6th time in 7 years. Obviously last year we were shut down. We have 15 teams coming in two different categories. I kept the rec division down to one group instead of two. So there's 10 teams in the rec division, and we have 5 teams in the open division. So not not quite as many of the travel teams. I think based on the feedback I got, I think still the pandemic and the COVID's having an impact there. But in the open division, we have a team from Pittsburgh, a team from Boston area, Massachusetts, and we have the Team United, which is one of the USA Masters national teams. Then down in the rec division, we have a couple Pittsburgh teams and a couple Iowa teams joining us.
Where are those players from the United team? Like, where are they from? All over the place, or?
Yeah, they're all over the place. They're from the the classic ball hockey hotbeds. Pittsburgh, New Jersey area, Philly, up in Massachusetts. So yeah, they're all coming out there. We got players from Detroit. So yeah, it's kind of all over. We're actually going to they're going to run a practice Saturday morning before the game starts. So you can come out and see what that looks like if you want. And then they roll right into their first game.
Hey, Frank, tell us a little bit about that game you posted with the United.
So, with that open having an odd number of teams, it's always tricky to how you're going to manage that schedule. And I thought for this one, since the Team United, their big thing is they're preparing for the big tournament, which is going to be in Czech in September. And so they come to these tournaments, and these are older guys, and they're going to be running against in the open division against a lot of speed. So so they'll have 2 games against that open competition. But I thought, let's get them a game against the Masters aged players. So our Team Chicago Gentlemen's Club, which is our over 40 program, we're going to put together a team to compete against them in kind of a showcase game on Saturday night. And then followed up with some type of social event. I'm still waiting on that because of all the the issues we have to deal with. But like a pizza party or something like that between all the old guys, between Teams United and the Gentlemen's Club.
Did I hear you? Did you say that game is Saturday night? I thought it was like a morning.
No, that one's Saturday night.
It is Saturday night.
I should have pulled up this schedule. Yeah, it's around 6 o'clock. I can pull that up. But
Okay.
yeah, it's a Saturday night game. Yeah, so that's what that one's all about.
Any, so you mentioned some players from the Masters coming from Detroit. Are there any new teams that are coming to the tournament this year that haven't been to one of your tournaments?
Yeah, so the team out of actually the team out of Massachusetts, and this team is going to be loaded. They've got 8 players, guys from the Saints, as I understand it, guys from the Americans, which are A programs. So that team's going to be stacked. That team's going to come out. We haven't had a couple of those guys have played on the Timberwolves over the years, but for the most part, it's all new guys. Our buddy Brian House, he's going to be the goalie of the team. Those are actually a lot of the guys that he played with growing up. So he's good friends with them. He's going to compete with them. The other Pittsburgh team is the Warbirds, and they've been out there as a program, but I don't know about this team in particular. So we'll see once they get out here. But the Warbirds, they're run by Willie McKean, who's a great guy, and they've got a really nice program. It's similar to Team Chicago, where they have a ton of guys who play, but they're more organized than we are. So they have teams kind of this BC level, rec, novice on down. But they do things really well. He's a good guy. So they actually have a team in the rec division and up in the open division.
Very exciting. Very exciting. So this year, you get any sponsors? I know every year you work hard around, these sponsors and these
No, that's never been my forte, getting the sponsors on board. I need a business manager.
We need a multimedia guy.
Oh yeah.
Business manager. Is Stevie J both? Stomps, you got any questions for Frank?
Any Canadians coming, or is that not happening?
No, and a lot of it has to do with the lockdowns. The Outlaws were, with Leo Riston and those guys, really good guys. I think they always have a good time when they come out. But with the travel restrictions and things just being difficult getting over the border, they're out. And then we were going to get another Canadian team, a really good team, the Godfathers in the open division, but again, they just couldn't pull it off. So it's all in the States this year.
Yeah. What are you thinking about the food and the culinary aspect of the tournament? Is there going to be anything offered?
Oh yeah, we'll have something. I like to feed you guys. So on Saturday morning we'll have our coffee and donuts and that kind of thing. Chuck usually helps out with that. And then in the afternoon, we'll order some pizzas or maybe do beef sandwiches. We've done different things over the year, but I'll work on that this week and see, just kind of see what I have a taste for. That's usually where it ends up. I try and do like a little bit of Chicago flavor, so the travel teams can come in, we can fatten them up, and then hopefully they get slow as we.
Right. I think it's a great strategy. Hey, a couple of years ago, you did the skills competition. I remember that. You bringing that back, or you're not going to do that this year?
No, the first couple years we did it, it was a big success. People loved it, and then the last couple of times I tried it, people just didn't seem that interested in it, and so it was a lot of work with no output. So I'd like to do it again. I enjoyed it personally, but there didn't seem to be much of an interest there.
Stomps is taking notes.
Yeah, I usually do. Stuff I don't want to forget.
Yeah.
Why don't you?
So what else about the event, Frank? I mean, should we be aware of going into this?
I don't know. I mean, it's like I said, this is the 6th time we're doing this, so some of it is fairly routine. But right now I'm still kind of just mired in all the details of it. Just making sure we have the prizes ordered, and the trophies and the swag for everybody, and making sure we have refs covered and scorekeepers, and so until usually this a week ahead of time, I'm always just kind of stuck in those details. And then probably, Monday or Tuesday, early next week, I'll really step back and kind of get a sense of where everything's at and then lock it down for the weekend. But Yeah, I mean, we're all ready to go. It's going to be a good time. I think, the rec division, having it with 10 teams, that's going to be a fun division to watch. So,
Yeah, there's a couple of returning teams there. Frank, who's been kind of your right-hand person helping you with the planning and all that?
well, there's a number of guys that always help out. Eddie Switek, he's, I was talking with him. He's like during the weekend, he's going to be the guy really in charge. So, I put it all together, and during the weekend, he really, he just makes sure everything runs smoothly for us. And then Chris Frederick and Billy Jacks, they're right there with me too, helping to make sure I get everything buttoned up, helping to make sure everyone has a good time over the weekend. We all kind of do our little parts there to try and make sure we cover everything. And it's, the way we look at it is we want to make sure everyone has a good time the entire weekend, whether your team is winning or what, if your team's getting, losing by 3-4 goals every game, we still want you to have a great time. So we really try and find any way we can to connect with people. That's why we bring the food and, get some of the swag and, try and provide a little bit of entertainment throughout the weekend.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds exciting. Go ahead, Stomps.
Speaking of Chris Frederick, my understanding is he's our newest certified referee.
He is certified, but I don't know if he's going to ref. He seems a little hesitant to do it. Doesn't want to, and it's probably not the best spot to jump into it, So
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think he wants to try and get his feet wet in the game on Monday, maybe. So I'm trying to broker that with the powers that be. See if that can happen.
Frank, who are the main refs for the tournament?
So, Jigs, he's going to be out there doing a lot of games, and Steve Bonney, he's another one of the roller guys that I think does a great job. So those guys will do a ton of games. I talked to Jay a while ago, and I think he's going to be on board for a bunch of games. So those are the roller guys, and they have a lot of experience. I think they do a good job. Stomps is going to do a handful of games, but he's playing, so he's kind of limited to what he can do. Brill is going to be out of pocket, I think, Saturday. You got Sabatini. Lou he's banged up, but he said he can jump in a game here or there if needed. So I mean, we'll have it all covered. That's kind of on my to-do list for the next day or two. Have that buttoned up by the weekend.
Excellent. Listen, we've seen a lot of Frankie Jr. lately at the games. Are you going to bring him to the tournament?
No, he's actually going to be in South Bend for a hockey tournament of his own. So he won't be around.
Is he going to be playing at the Notre Dame?
Yes. So I haven't seen the schedule. They have 2 rinks out there. They've got that Compton Ice Arena that's just beautiful on campus. But there's another one in South Bend, and they'll usually play half their games. One at the regular rink and then one.
Yeah, the other one's a dump. I've been in the other one. After playing in Compton, it's.
I know it's not the same.
Right. Yeah.
He was out there a few years ago. I've got a beautiful picture. They had a professional photographer, and this is when I think he was a squirt, and he was out there, and he's on the ice, and like the Notre Dame background is in the back, or the Notre Dame logo on the boards was in the background.
Yeah.
Got the puck on his stick, his head up. It's a great picture.
That's cool. Yeah. So you're gonna miss that then. How did that planning?
Oh, well, actually, so this tournament was supposed to be in December. This one he's going to, and then they couldn't get the teams. So in December, he and I went out to Cleveland for a hockey tournament. And then they added this one as kind of like a bonus.
Oh.
So, he does a tournament this weekend every year, and it's always a struggle because I'm running this thing, and I always have to miss that one.
I didn't know there was a lot of ice in Cleveland. I always think of Columbus when I think of hockey in Ohio.
Yeah, no, we were actually at a couple different rinks. One of them was a dive.
Yeah. Stomps, you got anything for Frank? I mean, I know he's always game to answer questions. And you're
No, I
always
mean,
game to ask them.
what was that?
You're always game to ask the questions.
No, I mean, we're looking forward to this event. It's always a good one. Team I play for, the Toros, we're technically the defending champions. So, Frank made sure we were, our round robin games were against probably some of the better teams in the rec division.
Did I do that? I let me see.
I think we play the Dolphins, who under a different name.
Yeah, the Hornets. Okay.
The
But
War.
they're actually a little short-handed. They don't have. I think they're still trying to look for a couple of guys to fill out their roster. To be honest with you.
Then you got what, that Pittsburgh team, the Warbirds,
Well, you got the Kings.
right? You got the Great Rocco. We got
Warbirds. No, I think that I think those teams are rated. Yeah, the Warbirds. They're going to be a good team.
No, we'll have fun with it.
Yeah, you guys will be fine. Yeah, I don't honestly like when I create the schedule, I just do I like do it blind. I just I do it by numbers, and then I just put the teams in there. So like I had what I mean, like I make like a default schedule. So I don't look at matchups or anything like that. And then the only thing is I'll play around with it to make sure, because certain teams have requests. Travel teams a lot of times can't play on Friday, or they're trying to get out early. So yeah, it wasn't done intentional.
No, I'm just yanking your chain there.
Frank, let me ask you this. As you've done this is your 6th time running one of these tournaments. I'm sure every single time you're learning something new and you're bringing your wealth of experience. If there was one thing that you would want to do better, what would it be for these tournaments?
Oh, there's that's a big
What is
list.
this, a job interview?
Yeah. One of the things that this is like totally out of my wheelhouse, but I would love to have it, get it up into the 21st century here with technology,
Like the neutral zone?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I attempted to do it a couple years ago, having a tournament app,
Yeah.
software to streamline the registration, the rosters, the wavering, payment, all that stuff. And then having stat tracking, live game scores, updates, and then build in a social media component with that, where there's just updates all weekend, videos, commentary, doing like pregame and post games and interviews and that kind of thing. Like that's ultimately what I'd like to do. A lot of that stuff is just, I can picture it, but I don't know how to make it happen. And, I need, the only way to make that happen is to have other people step up and do it. This is a small one-time event. It's just not in the cards for me to go spending thousands of dollars to pay for all that stuff. So if you're out there and you want to own that, come and talk to me.
I bet you there's people out there with that skill set. What about the video guy? Are you going to bring him back?
Yeah. So Joey Delgado, he'll be out there. Does a great job. And he's the best. And that's like one of those things where he just takes care of that. I don't have to worry about any of that. He sets up the live stream, the video. It's all just taken care of. He gives me the link and I can get it to all the teams. They could share it with their friends and family. So the games, every game, the entire tournament will be live streamed. So your friends and family back home can keep an eye on us.
That's really good. And then in terms of Stevie J mentioned that there was going to be some multimedia stuff going on, or some live broadcasting going on.
Yeah, so I mean, like he and I have kind of talked about that in general, but and again, it's not something I've gotten specifics nailed down with him, but I'm kind of hoping he runs with that. Just pulls people after the games and does interviews or whatever. I'm open to all that stuff, but yeah.
We hate that kind of stuff.
Is the neutral zone going to be out there providing timely commentary?
I hope so.
Post-game analysis, pre-game analysis?
Yeah, we plan on doing some analysis, interviewing some players. We'll bring our equipment there to make sure, if you give us a little corner with some Wi-Fi, we'd be happy to do it, Frank.
Sounds good.
We just need that Wi-Fi password.
See, again, that's beyond my expertise.
All right, anything else, Frank? Anything else, Stomps, for the tournament?
No, I mean, I'm kind of sick of the tournament already, to be honest with you. Because right now it's just work. I can't wait till it actually gets here because it's always, like the week leading up to it, Friday night is always, I'm just stressed out. But usually like midday Saturday, once things start rolling and it's just, everyone's there having a good time and the hockey's going. That's really what it's all about for me. So I'm looking forward to kind of midday next Saturday when this thing's rolling. And
Are you playing?
I am going to be playing, yes.
Good.
And what team is that?
Well, this is might be breaking news to some of my guys, but I put together Team Mayhem, which is one of the Chicago teams. But we've got a deep roster, so I'm actually going to be playing with the United Masters team.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
So will you be playing against Gentlemen's Club?
I will be playing against the Gentlemen's Club.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
Strap it up.
That'll be interesting.
Exciting stuff. Well, look, for those of you who don't know about this, it's January 14th to 16th in Palatine. Legends Hockey, under the leadership of Frank, will be hosting their 6th annual tournament. You are tuned in to season 2, episode 14 of the Neutral Zone, where we cover all the most important hockey details in the Chicago community. Couple of things, Stomps, what's going on with Woodridge right now?
It's touch and go each week, depending on the weather. We had a little bit of a string of pretty decent Sundays. We pushed the start time back from 8 to 9:30 because we were only playing one game. And we were playing longer too. We were setting the time for each period longer. So we were going pretty long time and it was working out well. And then last week, we got that weather came in and got really cold. So had to cancel it. We've got one on the schedule for this Sunday. There's an outside chance I think we could play. It just depends on Saturday night type thing, what's going to happen with the weather.
Cold, the weather being cold or snow? Because right now it's...
Well, they were talking about ice on Saturday, but then I think they may have taken that out of the forecast now. So it's just supposed to be like about 35 degrees Saturday, then dropping down. Sunday's only supposed to be a high of about mid to upper 20s. So,
well, I know
we'll see. I mean, it's kind of a last minute decisions. We don't want to take any chances with the floor. I know we did last year. That was then. So we just be a little more smart about it.
Right. Well, there was probably a dynamic there with people wanting to play as much hockey as they could, as we were kind of in the thralls of the pandemic. But anyways, Sabatini has been sort of the special organizer, unofficial organizer for these games. And Sabatini just celebrated his 40th birthday last week. Happy birthday.
Yeah, somebody else had birthday on the same day.
Yeah, it was my co-host Stomps.
Happy. You were overshadowed. I didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, very overshadowed.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not a milestone birthday, buddy, but can I tell everyone how old you are?
Sure.
So Stomps celebrated his 58th birthday. Happy birthday to you, Stomps.
Yeah, happy birthday, yeah.
It's great to see you still playing as much as you do, and contributing to the game as well as the entertainment aspect and the rest. I mean, it seems like you do everything when it comes to hockey now.
It's fun. That's when it stops being fun, that's probably when I'll stop, but it's fun.
I seem to remember celebrating your birthday in the parking lot, you and Stomps you and Sabo last year.
We did.
And
We
everything
had
was shut down and we were doing those
cupcakes.
secret games, and we would
Oh,
hang out afterwards with the space heater and a couple beers in the parking lot.
Yeah.
absolutely. Good times.
How fast time.
I think hockey kept a lot of us sane.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. So we like to get to know some of the players on every episode. Today we'll do it a little differently. It's getting to know players / kind of critiquing them a little bit. We're not going to critique anybody. We're just trying to try to understand them a little bit better. So let's start with. Sorry, yeah. Well, you guys certainly can do that. Let's start with the first guy here. The one period wonder. So I don't know if the folks at home watching the neutral zone tonight know who we're talking about, but I'd like to showcase this guy today because of his consistent ability to play only one period. And then Dave Schmiel. What's going on there, Stobbs?
Well, I'm very happy you used that picture because that ridiculous hair has to be called out at every opportunity. Yeah, I don't know. Dave likes to ghost us. He's there and he's gone. So he drives like 45, 50 minutes from Geneva to Palatine to play, for 15 minutes, and then he's gone.
I hope he has an electric.
He said he didn't want to take anything away. He didn't want to take time away from Billy and Brian yesterday. I said, there was plenty of playing time for the goalies, and he's as entitled to it as anybody. But
yeah, he was begging me for weeks and weeks to get into the game, and I said, all right, So I put him as one of the 3 goalies, and I show up, and they said, yeah, he's just going to play one period. He's out of here.
Instead of having a game sign-up sheet, you should have a special one for him, a period sign-up sheet. Oh, man.
We played against you guys on Monday night. He didn't even play the full game. Halfway through the game, he's leaving, and here comes Bobby D.
Right.
I've never seen anything like that.
And the interesting thing is he doesn't play till the end of the game, but he actually leaves the rink on Monday. I didn't even see him on the bench.
he's very supportive of the team's efforts.
Do you think that contributed to our loss?
I don't think so.
That was a tough one. We were
Can we talk
actually.
about that now, or do you have that lined up for later?
No, we can talk about it now. Let's talk about it now.
So we tied that game, in the closing seconds of the third period. And I kind of threw the ball at the net, and then, it ended up in the net, and I just turned around and walked to the bench because I was tired. And I didn't realize that there was a bit of a scuffle in front of the net. And I hear this ruckus, and I go, what's going on? Why is everyone upset? And they're like, I don't know. Well, I watched the video the other night. I don't know if you've seen it. It's hilarious. Chuck is tied up a little bit with Bobby D in front of the net, and he's right on top of the crease, so it's hard to call it a violation, but I think he did kind of interfere a little bit with Bobby's leg, but Bobby's reaction is
He went nuts.
He was stomping his stick on the ground. And I think was that you? Someone else was there going like, no.
Well, I saw Bobby D's reaction, and I knew for sure he was definitely interfered with, because he doesn't typically react like that.
He loses it sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen the blocker go flying many times. I was more angry that I felt like we beat ourselves. No, not taking anything away from you guys, Frank, but I was pretty angry. But I want to ask you because didn't Frankie set you up for a goal in that game? And
He did. The
Yeah.
kid had 3 assists actually.
how do you feel? I mean, now you're added to the ranks of fathers playing with sons in our ball hockey world.
Yeah, no, it makes my heart feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I didn't think I'd be playing long enough to play with him, but it's going to happen. He's actually going to be on my NBHL team this spring.
Oh, great! I mean, he looks good. I mean,
Yeah, he needs to put on a little muscle, but yeah, he's okay out there.
so if he's going to play NBHL, who's going to be our videographer for the?
I have to put I'm accepting applications. The first requirement is you have to have big hair.
That's the thing I like. I love the Kramer hair. I think and I asked Frank the other day, where did he get that hairstyle from? Or that hair, that curly hair? Because your hair is pretty straight.
Yeah, mine. It's not quite like that. It's in the family. My grandfather, my uncle, they had that crazy curly hair. It goes straight up like Kramer.
You know what's interesting to watch? Like as Frankie Jr. starts playing, and builds his comfort level with the other players. And you'll see like all these, because I remember when Solomon started, it was really cool to play with him. And then you start seeing them start building their confidence and their comfort, and then start getting more chippy as each game goes by. Start getting a little bit more involved. And I'm sure we're going to see the evolution of Frankie Jr. here soon.
Yeah, I hope so.
That's great stuff. Stubbs, anything else you want to critique your own team for?
Well, I wanted to ask you a question.
I don't take questions. I only ask them.
I noticed that you've struggled a bunch lately, and I think I attribute a lot of that to the equipment you're using. So my question for you is, you went up to Canada in 2021 towards the latter part, and I think you played some hockey with high school teammates.
Right.
So I want to ask you, at this point in your ball hockey career, what would you consider to be the most important hockey? A few games up in Canada or your games here in the States? Because I question your wisdom of bringing your best equipment up there and leaving it in Canada. And now you're using inferior equipment, sticks. You're having trouble with the helmet. What's going on there?
Well, I'm only wearing the cage because of exactly what you said. I don't have my equipment here, and I'm wearing those. Frank, remember those D-gel knee pads that before we got those knee pads? I think somebody, I don't know if it was Frank, but Chico or Frank or somebody got me into these D-gel knee pads.
And no, that one wasn't me, but I've seen those.
But I hate them. I hate all my equipment. Yes, there is some truth to it. Not that I don't enjoy playing up here. For the guys in Canada who watch the show, and I know there's a lot that do, the difference over there versus over here is they take it so much more seriously after the games. So they have blogs and they have like WhatsApp groups, and they're continuously critiquing every shift, every play, every mistake. And we think this podcast that we do is like analyzing players. It's your equipment you wear, everything's got to be perfect. And then you get kind of under a microscope. So I don't know if that's the reason why, but it's not like the competition is that much different. It's just the way they take it so seriously. And you guys know, you've played against the teams up there. It's not like the teams out here are not competitive. It's kind of in their veins, the way they act after games. And then you see guys that are good friends, and we see that occasionally, but I mean, we're seeing guys dropping gloves in like a ball hockey game on Sunday afternoon with the best man at their wedding. I mean, just crazy stuff like that happens. And they talk about it, and then they're yelling at each other in the locker room, and then they're challenging their best friend to a fight in the parking lot. I mean, it's like the Broad Street Bullies over there. But that, I don't know if that answers your question, Stomps, but I mean, my equipment sucks right now. And the Achilles tendonitis is not making it any better.
Well, I think given the fact that you've acquired that wonderful Tesla, you could certainly acquire some additional equipment.
Whatever.
But I'd be very happy if you switch the slide now, because I've had enough of looking
Enough of
at
that.
Mr. Schmeal.
All right. So here's a guy that all of us are familiar with. And, you know, I have never asked him this question, and I'm going to ask this question live on the air to Stomps and my esteemed guest, Frank. Ronnie Coletta, I mean, he shared with us that he works in the telecom industry in our last episode. I want to understand, why is he always late for every game? Is it just because he's working? Is it like, what's the deal? Do you guys know anything about this? I just want to understand, because I know certain cultures, like, you know, they're known for being late to parties and functions. Is it a cultural thing? Is it a personality? Is it work commitment? Is it family commitment? Like, I've never asked him, and I thought maybe you guys could shed some light on that.
I don't really know. I always assumed he's just talking to somebody. And you've talked to Ronnie. Like, once he gets going, man, he's gonna go. He's just gonna talk and talk and talk. And you know, whatever comes next, be damned. You know, when he's done talking to you, then he'll move on to the next thing. And so that's what I always assume. I think he's just he's in his car, and he's talking to a friend or a worker or his wife. I don't know.
Right.
And he's just enjoying that conversation, and then when he's done with it, then he'll get on the rink.
And he's always had his earpiece on. You could be onto something, because when he walks in the rink, he is on a call. Like that I can say. Stumps, any insight into that?
No, I've known Ronnie forever. Shifting gears slightly, I know on Monday, and I don't know who was reffing Team Red's game, but he was livid that whoever gave Ronnie Jr. a game misconduct.
Right.
He was not happy about
And they
that.
won that game too. And I said, hey, you won, didn't you? He says, it's not about winning. I'm a ref, and I know when a bad call is made. Well, anyways, we love you, Ron. We just wanted to sort of dig into your psyche there. So before we close, again, I wanted to thank everybody for your support on the Neutral Zone. You just tuned into season 2, episode 14, where we talked about a lot of happenings in the community. Stomps and I interviewed Frank Klein about his upcoming tournament. Stomps, is there anything else, anybody else that we're missing on today's segment?
Can I jump in with one here?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yes. So I don't know if you guys know this, but so Scotty Worgan and Eddie Urban have made the final cut to be on the USA team, which is a big deal for our sport. So this is the USA national men's ball hockey team. So they're going to, I forget where, but they're going this weekend for the final tryout. And so we'll be pulling for those guys. Hopefully they make the team and represent Chicago on the top ball hockey team in the country.
That's incredible.
Last night's scrimmage game, playing against Scotty, every time I was on the floor and he was on the floor, it was like he was bearing down on me, and I was like turning to run, because I know I can't outrun him, certainly running backwards. And then he would just like come right up my ass, basically. And I'm trying to just sit there and stay in his way. It was hilarious. But no, congrats to those guys for sure. That's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, congratulations to them. That's great for the Chicago community, eh, Frank?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to mention and Frank, you had brought this up to everybody, the recent ball hockey feature on NHL Network. I watched it. I thought it was a great segment. Ken Danico and Mike Rupp interviewing. I don't know the two guys, that I can't remember their names, from the USA team, and just they plugged NDHL. He talked a little bit. One of the guys mentioned Chicago a couple of times. They did a little skills competition in that little studio area there, hardest slap shots, and it was actually pretty cool segment. You could watch it. There's like, I don't know where it is. There's a link. You just gotta click on it.
Frank, how do we get access to that link?
I can share it. I shared it on my Facebook page. I thought I put it on the team app too for the guys who are on the Team Chicago or the Chicago Ball Hockey app.
We'll drop it in the description of this video as well. So if it's on your Facebook or on the Team Chicago app, I'll pick it up and we'll drop it in the description here so you guys can have access. I think everybody should watch it.
Yeah, that's and that's not the first thing they've done. They've done a number of pieces over the years on ball hockey, and I'd like to. Hopefully, they keep doing more and more of that. But the people who are in charge of USA Ball Hockey have some connections there at the NHL Network that they kind of lean on from time to time. So it's great for our sport. So whenever you guys see that, support it.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, that's a wrap for us here on the Neutral Zone. Season 2, episode 14 concludes. Please, I ask you to put in the comments section on the YouTube video any suggestions you'd like on topics. We are more than happy to deliver. So with that, we'll close. Thank you very much, Frank Klein, and thank you to the viewers for tuning in.
Good night.
Good night.
What we live in, back and forth through the kitchen, remembering the nights we spent down. Seems so